some pride back. Just a little bit of pride.
It's not haterade. You guys lost, and we just want to make sure.
Yeah, well, at least he was there.
But in defense, the Kansas City, their offensive line was in disarray. We already knew that coming into the game. So it was. But what's happening with the running back that came from Pittsburgh from the Jets, Bell? He's not part of the shit at all.
I was telling Lloyd that earlier, that it seemed like during the game, Andy Reid went back to Philly Andy Reid and just.
It seems like that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know why you picked him up to do nothing with him.
Hey, the craziest shit that I've peeped today, and I forgot all about it. Do you realize that LaShawn McCoy got 2 fucking rings in a row?
Yes.
Did he play last year?
No. He was benched for the Super Bowl then too. Twice.
Was he on the Eagles when they won?
No. He
was in Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
He was in Buffalo. That he's just like, oh, damn. I bet you Charles Barkley wish he was him.
He's trying to be the NFL's version of Robert Horry. That's all he's doing.
Well,
Robert Horry got them rings, bro.
Horry performed.
I was saying, Horry
he played. This motherfucker ain't. Bling, 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 bling.
Yo, let's get the intro rolling, then we're going to start up, yo.
Intro.
With it. That's why I'm mad with it. With it. With it. That's why I'm mad with it. Straight out the trap with it. Whatever you want, whatever you need, it's on tab, get it? That's why I'm mad with it. That's why I'm mad with it. That's where I'm at. Okay, you chasing clout, oh no way, your shit turn.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's the I'ma Get in Trouble podcast with Lloyd Lee, Terrance Godwith, and our special guest. Our special guest is none other than Mr. Bob Sumner himself. How you doing today, sir?
I'm fantastic, bro. How you?
I'm trying. I'm over here dying laughing.
What's good, fellas?
What's up, sir?
I didn't expect to get roasted by the legend so quick. I'll take it.
That wasn't even a roast, man. That wasn't even a roast.
I'm just
even reloaded.
Hey, that's what we call saute.
He gave you that light work, son.
That was the saute.
Yo, so Mr. Sumner, like as soon as we found out that we were going to be able to get a chance to talk with you, I think all of our minds exploded with all the different questions that we wanted to ask. Lloyd, we have a group chat, and Lloyd and Terrance were like back and forth. I was at work. Lloyd and Terrance and just back and forth with all these different questions. And the first thing that
we're not gonna ask any of them.
The first thing I want to know is, how much about sports do you know, sir? You was quoting some old stuff during the pre-show.
Well, the truth of the matter is, like, everyone asked me if I wasn't doing what I'm doing now, what would I be doing? And I would probably be either someone's assistant coach, basketball, or scout. And I'm talking about on a major tip. You know, I would have probably worked myself up, you know, through the ranks of high school to college or whatever. But I think that I would have been in the big leagues, because I've been around this thing for a minute. You know.
So your main focus is basketball. That's your main necessity.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, you can ask me any question about sports besides probably badminton and some shit like that.
Cricket, right, sir? Cricket.
No, but I mean, just in terms of like the 3 major sports, I'm all good. I'll be your lifeline on how to be a millionaire.
When you say 3 major sports, you mean soccer, right?
I mean, that's no. No, I wouldn't say soccer as one of the 3. even though, if you're overseas, that they call football, soccer football. So, but I did, I will take you on this trip though. When I was in college at Seton Hall, I took a job as like a ticket taker and usher at Giant Stadium, right? This is before MetLife at Giant Stadium. And at that time, the Giants shared the stadium with the professional soccer team that was in town called the Cosmos, the New York Cosmos. And on that team was the world's greatest soccer player ever. His name was Pele.
Hey.
So I used to watch a lot of Pele, Giorgio Canaglia, Steve Hunt, Franz Beckenbauer. I know Kyle Rote Jr. I know about some soccer, fan. Bend it like Beckham.
What game are you watching right now? I see something in your reflection. What are you watching now?
Basketball?
Basketball.
I'm watching. Right now, I'm watching Brooklyn and the Pistons, but we also have Houston. Houston is rocking with the Pelicans. That's a nice one. And then you have the Knicks are balling with the Heat right now. So we got 3 games rocking right now.
Do you think the Nets are going to be the ones that come out of the East?
No, but here's the craziest shit about what I'm watching right now. There's a college game on right now that I have no interest in, and I can't believe I don't have any interest in watching Arkansas play Kentucky. Kentucky, I'm not trying to watch right now.
Why?
Because Kentucky, their leading scorer is averaging 12 points a game. I saw that shit the other day. I was like, oh, hell no.
They went from Wildcats to Mildcats right quick.
What's a muskrats?
Their leader scored 12 points.
He's averaging 12 points a game. Yeah. So, I'm like, I wasn't going to. And I love college ball, love college ball. You see where I'm from.
Yeah, see,
South Orange.
See, I can't do college. I can't do college sports. I just can't. I don't.
Oh man, really?
It's not
missing out.
I'm a professional guy. I like professional.
Wow. Missing out.
There's too many kids. I don't even know their names, bro. I don't got time for this.
I just love the hunger. I love the hunger in college sports. Them kids is trying to do the damn thing. Over here in the pros now, they be taking nights off and stuff. Like that was unheard of back in the day.
Yeah.
But I know you guys want to go to where y'all at? Where are you located? Anybody got a Waffle House in town?
Terrance.
I just moved out of DC a year and change ago, and now I'm in Omaha, Nebraska.
Wow. Omaha, Nebraska. Let me tell you about Omaha, Nebraska real fast.
Let's do it.
I travel all over the country, right?
Yes.
I scoured the whole country over and over. I hit Omaha. Omaha, I'm big on all sports and college baseball World Series. Definitely. What tripped me out about Omaha was I had never seen as many bowling alleys. Like bowling, AMF, I guess, was out there. AMF, bowling, but it was so many bowling alleys. I was like, damn, it just kind of like blew me away. And then they had like real juke joints. Juke joints where you go in and feel like, Ma Rainey's about to come out and start singing and shit.
Dude, that's Omaha is I didn't even know what the fuck it was. I'm not gonna lie. I kept saying he's an
don't know that it's as big as it is too.
Yeah, Bob Gibson, the best right-handed pitcher in baseball history, was from Omaha. And we had I'm in Jersey, and my high school had a nice little pipeline to Lincoln, Nebraska, with University of Nebraska. I have a few guys that have national championships from there. So there's an affection for Nebraska with us here. Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm still in DC. I'm in quote unquote DC.
Columbia.
Right. I'm in Columbia, Maryland.
Right, come on now.
I'm right by 95. I'm in DC.
Right.
And then Lloyd is
I'm in Las Vegas. I just moved here a couple months ago, so living in Las Vegas.
Cool. Vegas, man. Damn.
This has been the greatest part about the pandemic. So me and Lloyd actually started this podcast as a live show in DC. That like we were running out of a bar, but we were getting like 100 people. And then the pandemic hit, and then we couldn't do the show anymore. So then the podcast turned into actually a podcast, and then we found a way to branch everybody together. So it's kind of cool that we're not even in the same city at all.
Yeah, that's dope, man. You know, the last time I've been out, besides running to New York a couple times to do some tapings, my last time out in public was that night at City Winery.
Wow.
That's how long it's been. That was in March of 2020.
2020.
Yeah,
that was before the festival.
That was a great night. Great night. I'm actually getting ready to kick off my own podcast.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Man,
okay.
Yeah. It's crazy too. It's called Just Kicking It with Bob Sumner, and I'll be just kicking it with all my guys that come from that golden age, and you know everything else in between. I have a segment that's going to be called Laff Mobbs. I Got My Eyes on You, which is basically looking at the rising stars, comedians who I've watched their footage and said, wow, this guy, because I can't travel like I did before because of the pandemic,
Right.
So everything's coming to me. So I just actually launched the site yesterday where the comedians could send me their links, anything comedy, because, I'm into like my show. I don't know if you ever saw Laff Mobb's Laugh Tracks.
Oh, we saw it.
Yeah, well, with that show, it's really based on comedians telling stories that we can turn into a comedy video, just like you take a song and turn it into a music video. So I'm looking for comedians for that, because that show was formed out of YouTube, something that we put on YouTube. So I figured if you have content creators that's looking to get their stuff out there, come mess with me. You know what I mean? I'll look at it, and if it's right, we can like figure something out and try to get that thing on something, because everybody's always hitting me looking for content. So I said, I might as well, with the pandemic, I didn't open up the floodgates. Now I have a podcast coming. I have the site where I can look at talent, and because after the pandemic, bruh, this shit is brand new. I'm treating 2021 like it's 1991, and you know what happened then.
Change
the game.
History.
He loves to mute himself.
I don't know why my thing just keeps doing that. Either way, I saw your post about you taking the comics, and one of the things that I wanted to ask you was, I saw in another interview that you did that you love comics pushing the envelope and innovating and being independent, right? So what is it, do you think, out of this pandemic that these newer comics, to get ready for this new age of Def Jam coming, like what should they be doing? Like what should they be coming out of this pandemic with?
Well, the thing is, it's not like the new age of Def Jam, it's the new age of Bob Sumner. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that was just a job for me, because I was doing this thing long before Def Comedy Jam. I actually celebrated my anniversary yesterday, and the first comedy show I ever produced was on February 8th, 1985.
Ooh. Wow.
All right.
Wow.
That's older than me.
Well, again, I take this. I'm very passionate about this because it's what I do changed lives. You know what I mean? And when I was watching something the other day, and it really hit me because it was the comedian. It was like one of my guys, and it was like he was doing something. And it was like a life-changing experience that had happened for them, and that's just how I roll. I watched a lot of people make it who I remember when they didn't have enough money to catch the train to their, next gig. You know what I'm saying? So I want to be able to, if I could look out for that generation the way I did with the same formula that I have now, why not do it again? All I need is that opportunity to do it again, you know, and thank God that Russell and Stan, you know, gave me that opportunity years ago, because nobody knew that a 2-show pilot was going to turn into 104 shows. If you saw the Def Jam 25 on Netflix, I mean, that thing was bugging me out, because that was all my work up on that stage. And also the in memoriam was deep, because I'm the only one who knew all 20 of those comedians who passed away. You know what I mean? I remember when I put all of them on. I have one of those type of memories where, you know, I note take. You know what I'm saying?
Lloyd, you go ahead, man. You had some questions.
Yeah, I mean, Bob Sumner, 2021. What do you look for, like, in a comedian? Like, of course, funny, but beyond funny, what is it that, like, catches your eye that goes, oh, this is something. We got something here.
Well, one thing is, just like how I never met you guys before, you know, but when I popped on the screen and you guys was on already, we just started kicking it. You know what I mean? We just started kicking it. Know what that was? Your characters. I felt your characters. I felt your vibes. You guys are cool. I have to first be able to, I don't care how funny you are. If I can't roll with you, that's a problem, because it ain't really about you and I, but it's about when you go to craft services on my set. When you go to wardrobe on my set, I don't need no problems. And a lot of times I could see it coming, you know, before it comes. If I put that person on, I learned a long time ago how to play this game. And the one thing that I have to make sure I have is the right people on the squad. All right. And then the other thing is I need funny. You know, I don't need giggles. I need people to really I want to be able to take you from that stand-up stage to turning you into a television star, whether it's you know, a sitcom, whether you're doing a talk show, a game show. You have to have that thing, or even a film star. You know, it's like, that's what I specialize in, because I've been through a whole lot of comedians, and a lot of them thought they should have got that opportunity from me, but I didn't see the big picture. And it was cool for them to go on and do other things, and I still root for them, because I'm not going anywhere. You could come back, but don't just start motherfucking me. You know what I mean? That's that character that I'm talking about. Because once you do that, I ain't messing with you. You know what I mean? Because I'm not your average executive. Right. You know what I'm saying? As y'all could see, I'm not your average executive.
You know about the case.
I be in the trenches. I come out. I bring Hollywood to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I bring New York City to whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? It's that's how I roll. You know, I go to Gates Barbecue in Kansas City. You know what I'm saying? And hang out.
So good.
Speaking of Kansas City.
That's right. Q39, LC, Gates. I got my stomach rumbling now. So if I can ask you then, Mr. Sumner, we know about the Def Comedy Jam, and we know about, even, you know, if people don't know, didn't you used to DJ before as well? Because you would DJ as you were producing these shows.
Well, that's the thing. I try to be very innovative in everything I do. And when I decided to get into the comedy business full time, I was already DJing, and I was on the radio and at Seton Hall and doing all this stuff. And, you know, comedy came to me at an early age. All right. And this is where answering your question about the whole music and the DJ. And I jumped into the entertainment business because my parents would always take me to the world famous Apollo Theater, where I'm now curator of comedy. Yeah. The reason that they used to frequent the place, it was like almost every Wednesday And on Sundays, we would either do the matinee or we would do it, go and catch the late show after dinner, where we would come from Jersey over to any of my aunts. I had 3 aunts that lived in Harlem. So we would do soul food dinners and stuff. And we would come back down to the Apollo. And I could tell you that, like, I've seen like David Ruffin and Eddie Kendricks, the Motown Review. I've seen them like 5-6 times. I saw the James Brown reviews and all this stuff. But something else that they had there was comedians. And I saw like a young Richard Pryor. I saw Jackie Moms Mabley, and I'm like 4 or 5 years old. You know what I'm saying? So all of that was built inside of me. And a large part of that came from my parents going there back in the 50s to see my uncle's singing group, who now my uncle's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I don't know if you ever saw the movie or heard of the movie, Why Do Fools Fall in Love?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So the character that Halle Berry played was Zola Taylor, who was married to Frankie Lyman. And Zola was in my uncle's group. My uncle's group was called the Platters. And the Platters was very, very popular. My uncle was the lead singer. And, you know, I used to just, like, as a kid, everybody used to flock to the house when he was in town and all that. I'm like, look at this, you know, so all of that led me into what I'm doing. And then my mom worked at RCA Records, and I had a lot of music always. So I took all of that into the comedy room, because you always had in the comedy room the piano player. Or you had the, like, the snare drum and the cymbal. All that was comedy. So all I did was flipped it and started playing beats, you know, started playing joints. And it caught on. So about time we did Def Comedy Jam, it was only right for me to bring in Kid Capri. So it's like, when I look at comedians now who can't get their set right because the DJ didn't play their music right and shit, I'll be like, damn, what if I never started doing that? What would you have done? You know what I'm saying? You know, some people, and the same thing with when people use music, songs, you know, lyrics in their act. That's not good for a television audition, because I have to pay licensing fees for that music. So, like, that joke has already been scratched, and that was your go-to joke. So on to the next one. On over there to hey, holla at me from Comic View.
I know we know that you have a sense of humor and you have an eye for sense of humor, but I've never seen a clip of Bob Sumner doing stand-up.
Oh, we got one now.
Have you ever thought about dabbling in that? Has it ever been something that you like, I at least want to try it, or did you try it and we just don't know?
No. That's something that I leave that for you guys. You know, I mean, I have to be the curator. You know what I mean? And the other thing that when you were asking me about, you know, what happens on the return, you know, right now, and I'm gonna be straight up with you. Since, let's take March 15th, 2020. Today is February 9th, 2021. All right? A comedian has had a lot of time to write 20 minutes, 20 to 30 new minutes to work out. You know, and when I say that, meaning, like, I don't want to hear no Mike Tyson biting Evander Holyfield jokes anymore. That was your shit back in the day, but I don't want to hear it now, because it's been so many things. Like I remember back at the beginning of this whole thing, everyone was talking about entanglements.
Yeah.
That was the thing. And it's been a whole lot of other things. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff that happened right down in Washington that people could have been writing about. There's a whole lot of stuff that I want to see what everybody does. And at the same time, at this point, best joke win. You know, a lot of people have the same premise, same topics, but best joke win. I don't care if you've been doing comedy for 20 years or 3 years. Best joke win. And at the same time, when you look at the comedy clubs that used to pack them in at 300-400 people, they only could fit 120 now. Okay, so I can't afford that big name anymore that used to come in here every year, whether he was funny or she was funny anymore. You know what I mean? Because that happens too. People start making it and they stop writing. Writing is the key, because that's what leads you to that sitcom like Ray Romano, Kevin James, Bernie Mac. You know what I'm saying? Everything is based off of their stand-up.
That was like one of the OG things that people used to tell me when I first started, was like, write to your character, write to who you are, and write with the intentions of getting a sitcom based on those jokes alone.
No doubt about it. And for that new comedian, don't be trying to rush a long ass set. Work on your set 5 minutes at a time. 5 minutes at a time. 5 minutes is a long ass time. You know what I'm saying? And then, I mean, out of those 5 minutes, maybe 3 of those minutes work. Keep those 3 minutes and work on 2 more minutes. You know what I mean? And that's how you build up your set.
Yo, that's a lot right there, man. That's some eye-opening shit. Like real life, because people don't. I'm guessing here because I'm in your eyes, I'm a baby. Like, but one of the things that you said that caught me off the break was being unique, right? Like, the best joke wins, right? The best joke wins. And some of the people, like, sometimes people have performed in front of you, and as long as they're not like motherfuck Bob, like, you're good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna see.
And they will do that. They have done that and ain't heard from me since.
Do you want to take a few moments to say some names? I don't know. We'll give you a
I don't. You know what? I definitely won't drop names because you wouldn't know who they are. You get what I'm saying? I mean, you wouldn't know who they are. You might have known if they didn't. Man, I remember I was on D Nice. I think it was D Nice. Somebody's Instagram. I think it was D Nice. Bruh. See, I went through a thing years ago where I found the Lord. All right. Because I was a little sometimes, you know, right. But I'm on D Nice's thing. I think it was D Nice, but somebody was doing their thing and I popped up. And I don't have that alias on. It's me. All right. It's me every time. And people be trying to do slick stuff with me as an alias or their handle on whatever. And I went on there. I was on there for a quick second. And somebody said, "What's happening, Bob?" You know, somebody saw that. And then somebody else, I wish I really knew. They said, "I should come slap Bob Sumner in his motherfucking head." And I'm like, who are you? Because I would love to see that. You know what I'm saying? And it was just, and I know it was from a disgruntled comedian. I know it was, because it's so many of, I mean, if it's 98% that's right with me, it's always that 2%. And when you say, can I say names? I can't say them, but I know them.
So that's the hard part of this game, right? Of being a person like of your stature, right? You have a lot of comics who you passed on because they weren't right at the time, right? And because that's what I'm getting from it. I could be wrong, but they just weren't right at the time.
It's one right now that's very popular, Eddie. Okay? It's one that's really popular now, has his own podcast and stuff. I had some of my people who found me up saying, "B, check this out. Check out what this dude was saying about you."
His name's not Eddie Liles, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to say,
you know, and that's what happens. Just like the brother that never made the team in high school, but all of a sudden he done got good at 30. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like that sometimes, you know what I mean? And I understand why you're upset, but a lot of comedians would tell you that when they thought they was ready and I didn't put them on, they understood when I put them on. And, and the reason I put them on is why? Because they didn't MF me. Right?
Yeah, I think a lot of the OGs told us about you in that regards. Eddie Bryant is one of my mentors. Shout out to Big OG Eddie Bryant. And he was, I think, when I performed, He was like, man, don't worry about it. Bob saw me like 4 times before he gave me something, like put me on
Before
something.
he even said hi to me.
So, like, yeah, like I've heard that about you, man. So what, Lloyd, I can let you ask. I know I asked you questions
today, and you say, oh, Eddie is someone like who Bernie was in 91. You know what I mean? I say that because Eddie is skilled, Eddie is ready. All right. But everybody, the world don't know Eddie. Like the world didn't know Bernie until I gave him that platform. Even Bernie's first Def Jam set, which
he froze up again on us, Bob. Bob, we having a little bit of technical difficulties. Try to get this fixed up real quick. But nah, I'm happy we had him on, man. I'm learning a lot. I don't know about you guys.
I'm just mad that the technical difficulties are messing everything up right now.
Yeah, like we need that.
I do want to mention that I am not tech support, so do not send angry emails.
Oh, everybody's sitting.
Everybody is. That's the reason why he's here. He hasn't said anything. Like, I'm not tech support. I'm not tech support.
Like Lloyd Lee, fix the connection, man.
Yeah.
Damn it, man.
Oh no, I think we got him back.
Okay.
Hold up. Mrs. Sumner, do we got you back?
I'm here.
Okay.
All right.
I'm here.
We lost you right in the middle of it, man.
No, I'm right there. I was saying that like Eddie Bryant is Eddie Bryant in 2021 is on the level that Bernie was on in 1991. No one had ever seen Bernie, but Bernie had been in the game for a minute, and that's why he separated himself from so many people on that show. I give you an example. When Bernie first appeared on Def Comedy Jam, no one really knew who he was. And that's when he did Take Me Out to the Ball Game and Stir It Like Coffee and all of that. People liked it. They enjoyed it. But it didn't come through the way I Ain't Scared of You did. All right. And it's because now everybody know who Bernie is. So now they're looking at him differently now, like he's a star. He has arrived, you know, and that's what happens with comedy. All of these people, Tiffany Haddish did Def Comedy Jam in 2007 when we came back and did a hell of a job and was making things happen. But it took 10 years before somebody really paid attention because she blew the roof off a girls' trip and haven't stopped since. You know what I'm saying? It's just interesting how we do. And that's why I said we're at a place now where we can go back to basics and hopefully I can identify and introduce the next wave. You know what I'm saying?
So why does everybody focus on like the new wave? So, and I'm not asking for, so I run the DC Comedy Festival, right? And so a lot of people are like, why do
you have panels? Yeah. You have panels and stuff?
We are. That was we were working on for 2020. So we already know.
What's your schedule look like, sir?
And I say that because I be looking at some of these panels and stuff, and I be like, damn, they're a comedy expert now. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So it's like. I mean, it'd be like that. I mean, I ain't, you know, again, I don't call people out, but everybody.
You ain't got to say no names. It was funny by itself.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would love to.
I guess my question is, you know, we're looking at kind of this precipice of comedy. Comedians have been doing it for 10, 15 years, and they're getting outsold, out promoted by like these Instagram stars, online stars, YouTube stars. Would a YouTube star or somebody that's got a lot of clout online sway you in any way to even put a flyer out on him to take a look at him? Like, what would he have to do?
Oh man, Bob, did you get that? Did you get that question?
I'm not stuck.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Did you say I was stuck?
Yeah.
Give her a second.
Yeah, I said I wasn't stuck. I was just absorbing what he just said. He said, what I did. Let me tell you something. I'm it's real interesting that I've had to fall into taking these submissions now to submissions at Laff Mobb. I have to now footage because I used to come out and really like come and watch live sets. I didn't even want to look at, your footage of a stand-up comedian. So you think I want to pay attention to an Instagram comedian? I don't even pay attention to that unless they're doing stand-up comedy. I don't want to see the funny, I remember a young lady told me that she went over to Caroline's to see this particular Instagram comedian and how funny he was, right? So I trusted her. So I asked her, what was it about his set? What is it about this guy that you really liked? And y'all know what happened when she told me my response. Know what she said? She said, you should see his dance.
Terrible.
That the record, vinyl with the thing. The record said that was enough for me. That's not gonna. I said, what did he say that was funny?
I can't, yo.
It be like that though. It's so crazy.
I mean, and he gets it. But here it is. He gets views. He gets hits. What happens now is that promoter see this and know that people want to come see this.
Exactly.
And then what they're gonna do is they're gonna book a couple comedians to save the day. Real stand-ups. So I mean, I don't get caught up in it, but I do want. Like, I think that this pandemic has done a great thing for the Instagram comedian or whatever you call them, guys. I call them social medians. Social medians. Yeah, because I think that what they should have done now is now they have time to write as well, or get a ghost writer to put together a real set, and now they could come out like smoking. There's one comedian in particular that I could say I get it, because he was a dope stand-up before he became an Instagram star, and that's Shula King.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember. Shula was dope before, him. And then I see that there's another comedian out of Baltimore that's been doing big things on Instagram, and I always liked him as a stand-up, and that's Cleon. I don't know if you know Cleon.
Yeah, Cleon the comedian.
Yeah, he's another. So I can respect these guys because I know that they got their chops, doing stand-up. But I also think that a stand-up comedian should figure out how to have a presence on social media as well. Even if you're just doing commentary, you don't have to be dance. You know what I'm saying?
Please stop with the dance, bro.
That's the new TikTok dance, the Sumner.
With this dance.
Hey, you asked me if I ever did stand-up or anything. I can tell you, if I take the funniest jokes that I've heard, like from comedians who only had that one joke, and I combined them, right? And then I come out
and start dancing.
Somebody asked me the other day, there was a comedian in Richmond that I saw. I was at a showcase years ago. The comedian didn't have any funny, like he wasn't really funny. And somebody in the audience started like heckling him. And I guess that's all he needed. That was his thing, because he came with two that I've heard people use it over and over now. And I actually had put these two jokes in a book called Snaps years ago, because I had heard these two snaps at the showcase. And one of them was the guy had said that the guy was heckling the guy, and the comedian on stage was like, would y'all have this guy tell him to be quiet, right? And then he said, this guy just won't be quiet, right? With his short ass, right? And I said, oh, here he go, right? He said, would y'all look at this short motherfucker, right? He said, I bet you could see his feet on his driver's license picture. When he said,
"Oh my God, that's an old one, yo."
Yeah, but it was so funny back then. It was the first time I ever heard it, and I know I started, hearing it after because people will take it, right? And then he came right back with another one that I had never heard. He said, "With his black ass, motherfucker, so black, I bet when he get in his car, the oil light come on." Right?
Listen. You, Lloyd. Fuck you, Lloyd. Fuck.
Listen, these joints was so funny to me, and then I mean, just you hear jokes that you never really heard, like, not that I don't even know if I guess I could say this. Because it's just, no, because it's just a joke, and but they said, I mean, it's hockey season, right? It's hockey season.
Is it, right? Terrance?
Yep.
Yeah, it's hockey season. and the guy asked me, he said, "Bob, do you know the difference?" He said, do you know the difference between a Polish woman?" He said, You know the difference between a Polish woman and a hockey player? And I was like, no. Do you guys know?
There's no puck.
Huh?
There's no puck.
Nah, a Polish woman and a hockey player wear the same shorts for 3 periods.
Oh, shit. I quit, yo. Hey, yo. Yeah, you gonna get a show for that one. Hey, Lloyd, give him the statement, bro.
If we go, this is a one time. Now, Mr. Sumner's gonna have to read the apology statement in this bullshit cancel culture, right? Like, yeah, fuck them all.
I am offended. I demand an apology.
Cal said it's just, but I'm hearing these people tell me these different jokes. I mean, there was an old joke in New York about the difference. Do you know the difference between, you have the New York Mets and you have the New York Yankees, right? Mm-hmm. So the joke was, do you know the difference between a Citi Field hot dog and a Yankee Stadium hot dog?
$47,
dude.
Huh?
$47. That's the difference.
Do you know?
No. What is it?
The difference? No. The difference between a Citi Field hot dog and a Yankee Stadium hot dog is you could get a Yankee Stadium hot dog in October.
Ooh. Stings.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Playoffs,
especially because my Royals beat the Mets in 2015, baby.
Playoffs.
Somebody would have said that about the Nationals. I smacked the shit out of them. It took me a second, but I got it. Oh,
somebody doesn't actually watch a lot of baseball.
I don't. Listen, okay. I'm a fan of the Nationals.
When they're winning. When they're not winning.
When we won the World Series, I was running around like I watched baseball all season, son.
Yeah. So I have another question then for you, Mr. Sumner. We just asked Toure, and it's been a subject that kind of circulates on here because all of us kind of came up in that scene. So how do you feel about the difference in urban comedy scenes versus mainstream scenes? And how does that affect you going as far as how you view comedy? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't quite understand what's considered. I guess urban comedy.
No, sir, it is not. No, sir.
I don't think it is. That's why, like, I hear, and it used to really like play on me sometime. Then I say, wow, this is pretty flattering. Just like you might want a cola, but you say, I want a Coke, right? But it's a cola,
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with somebody say a Def Jam comedian.
I hate that shit.
I don't understand what's a Def Jam comedian, because whenever I was producing the show and getting my lineups together, it wasn't like I never looked at like one type of comedian. The only thing I know was we had the type of show that you didn't have to censor. You could do your nightclub. You could do your nightclub act. And if there's 4 comedians on the show and 2 or 3 of them, you know, use the F-bombs or whatever, it's making you feel like everyone did. But, you know, when Cedric was on the show, you know, JB Smooth, these guys wasn't really going in. And then we had like comedians like Warren Hutchison, you know, who went on to executive produce Martin or the Bernie Mac show and all that stuff. You know, it's just interesting to see how that all plays out at the end of the day when I'm really just looking for the funny, you know what I mean? And even I'm looking for, you know, funny with a message for the most part, you know, but
So you kind of take it the same way we do, is that it's still that weird way that people find to denigrate somebody's success or denigrate their style when it shouldn't be. Is that how I'm reading it?
Well, let me just hit you with this real quick. I think that, like, when you talk about the urban rooms or the mainstream rooms or whatever, a mainstream comedian that can't work, or I should say a mainstream comic who can't work an urban room, or an urban comic who can't work a mainstream room, that's just what they are. They're comics. A comedian can work any room.
Ooh,
that's right.
I look for comedians. I'm sorry.
Somebody write that down. Someone write that down, please.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, because a comedian can make anybody laugh. Let me ask you this. Was George Carlin considered an urban comedian?
No.
Did George Carlin make you laugh your ass off?
One of the top 5s for me.
You see what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely.
See what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely.
You know, is Eddie Murphy considered a mainstream comedian?
No. For people that make excuses, because that's what I think that terminology comes from, right? Because like, and me and my manager talk about this all the time about like people will be like, "Oh, I don't like doing urban rooms," but I'm like, I'm like, what are you saying, bro? Like,
you don't have the right song.
I don't right. I don't dance enough for. Like, yo, like. I like telling stories. So as a comedian, like I just want to go up and do my jokes. Who resonate with my jokes, resonate with my jokes.
You know who you sound like right now? You sound like Yamanika. That's Yamanika. Yamanika don't care who's in that audience. You know, I'm on a special right now. That's running. And what is it? Dark comedy or something dark comedy, I think.
Dark comedy?
Is that the name of it? I think it's dark comedy. It's running on Comedy Central or streaming on Comedy Central. Okay. It's called dark comedy, if I'm not mistaken. Look, I know Lloyd's looking it up.
I'm looking it up right now.
Dark humor. Docu-series. Yeah, yeah. And I heard Roy Wood Jr., Yamanika. It's really good. It's really good. And you know that she's talking about what you're talking about right now.
Yeah, because I mean, I that's the one thing that I think I find it as an excuse, and that's just me. People just use it as an excuse. Yes. Oh, I didn't do well because I don't do well in urban comedy. He didn't do well because he normally does mainstream comedy. Oh, he doesn't do well here because white people don't like him. Like, dude, just be a comic. Who comes, bro.
And on that same note, it really doesn't make a difference if 10 people's in that room or 10,000. You have to deliver. You have to deliver it, because I was in LA, Sherman Oaks, at some little spot one night, and it was more comedians in the room than it was people. But the people who were in the room were like major players in Hollywood, you know, and some of the comedians came and brought it, and some of the comedians came in and act like nobody was in that room. But you have me and Robbie Reed in this room, you know, and Mekhi Phifer's in this room, and a couple, and it's like we're watching these folks, and it's like some of them are like, okay, check them out, and then it's the other ones that just mail it in. You can't come in there mailing it in, because whenever I'm in the room, you're auditioning every time.
Oh, write that down, people. Write that down.
Yeah, I've messed up on that a couple times. I've definitely messed up on that a couple times.
And when that situation happens, when that promoter books you or whatever, and
I'm talking about that open mics. When I'm getting paid, I perform.
But let me just say about that. You get paid. That's the key thing. If you're getting paid, but the room is light,
still work.
Always. and don't use the room as your crutch of jokes, because it's not going to work. Because when the comedian says, "Whoa, the promoter security did a great job keeping people out of here," the promoter don't want to hear that, because he's paying you. You know, that's not why he hired you to be funny. And the audience don't want to feel like they're dumb for being here. You're making them feel like they're here to support you. So don't start making the joke all about them. Now you done zeroed in on them.
You're ungrateful.
Hey, listen. I was at the Comedy Store, right? This is before I was booking the Comedy Store. I would fall into a room, especially Crack 'em Up Thursdays, up in the belly room. Michelle's room, yeah. I pop in there, and I'm sitting up on the top, and there's a comedian that's in there, and he feels like he wants to start zeroing in on these two women, right? Now the two women are in there by themselves, no guy, and I guess when the women started not paying attention to the guy because they was tired of him, right? So now he tries to change his material to the audience, but the women are still over here like kind of chit-chatting, but they really don't care about this dude because he kind of played them anyway. But then he goes, "Will you bitches shut the fuck up?"
Woo!
Yikes.
You know who lost it?
I'm guessing you.
I lost it. Now here was the cool part about it. One of my boys who I grew up with live in LA. He was over here in the corner. I had another one who came out. He's a truck driver who came to meet me up there. He's over here in the corner. So now I know I got my guys over here, and I don't know what's going on, but I'm like, telling this guy that you need to like apologize to these women, because what you said, it wasn't about jokes. You were serious about that. You were very disrespectful about that. And part of the reason that this guy gave me, he gave me more of a reason to get in his case, because he ain't know who I was in there the whole time, new comedian, not knowing who I am. I'm sitting there, and he goes and start telling, like, who remembers Def Comedy Jam? And he started like mimicking Def Comedy Jam to a point where it was being very disrespectful. It was being kind of racist with it, right? So, and I didn't say anything, but when he started messing with them women, he opened up that can of worms like no other. And it was just one of them things. And that's why I'm saying a comedian has to really watch who's in that room, because later on, my guys who I told you from home, they felt a certain type of way where they needed to talk to him. And they pulled them in, and then they said, then they called me. They said, Bob, come here for a minute, right? And I walked over there, and the guy looked at me, and he said, "You're Bob Sumner? I am so sorry." I apologize. I had no idea you were in there, right? That was you. And I'm saying to myself, that's not the point.
Absolutely.
It's your material. That was the problem. Why make us your joke? I'm in here trying to maybe sign your ass if you're funny.
Right.
But right about now, go dance your ass across the street.
The goddamn dance. We need to do the hashtag Bob Sumner challenge. This goes around on Instagram.
I already been thinking about it's like, and I know you guys probably have already. It's so many comedians over the years have decided that they could do the best Bob Sumner impression. Everybody think they can talk like me. And I'm like, okay, all right, motherfucker. All right.
With all due respect, I'm gonna let them because I'm gonna not try.
I'm not gonna. I don't do voices. I'm good, son.
I say I'm terrible with fucking accents. Like my British is Australian, but like with a really shitty country twang. So I can't do none of that shit.
I got you.
As the only dude on this panel, on this straight that could possibly get away with it, I say no. I'm good on this side.
My man,
I did not do that. I did not do that.
That's what's up. Trust and believe me, man. This is my little lab that I'm in, and I'm cooking up some hot stuff for the reset. But again, I'm really excited about this. Because comedy, I needed a break. I've been traveling out of airports. This is my longest break from March of last year to now. This is my longest break of not being in an airport since 1991 for real.
Wow.
Jesus.
Dang.
Wow. So after September 11th, he was still like, I'm getting on this plane when you guys open back up.
So does everything open back up. So I mean, and it's weird that you told that story. Because I had to talk to again. I don't think I'm anywhere near you. Like, you know what I'm saying? But we have a show at the DuPont Underground. We hold like 300 something people. And so we go to other shows and look for like comics in DC to like perform at this show. And this comic one time went off on a group of gentlemen that happened to be gay, and he was just frying them and then just making fun of it because the guy wore this he had on Versace underwear, he had on like a Versace belt or something. He was like, all this stuff fake, and I was like, bruh, like, what are you doing, fam? Like, this isn't funny anymore. They were talking during my set. Then keep performing, like, because I'll tell you the truth. When you funny, people stop talking. If they're talking, it's because you're not funny.
Because the rest of the audience will get that ass in check if nobody else.
Exactly.
That's how it was. If you did watch Def Jam 25, Tiffany was doing an interview with Adele Givens, I think.
Yeah.
Sheryl Underwood and Melanie Camacho. And they mentioned you had to come through my room in Jersey called the Peppermint. Okay, I had a room called the Peppermint. Bill Bellamy hosted, and then when Bill moved to LA, Mike Epps started hosting. And in this room, it was like 500 people every Thursday night, literally, with another 200-300 trying to get in, right? So, of course, with all those people and libations flowing and, you know, women walking past, pretty women and stuff, you know, the guys is in there. It's kind of loud at times.
Yeah.
When the comedian on stage is not bringing it. Okay. But if the comedian on stage is bringing it, you could hear what they say, a mouse piss on cotton. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's really about what you do on the stage. A comedian could quiet the entire audience if he's funny or she's funny.
Right. What you got, Terrance? I know you got 85 more questions, bro.
I got
Bob. How much longer you got, Bob? We don't want to keep.
Yeah,
you.
we don't want to tie you up
because we already at an hour. It felt like 15 minutes.
I was gonna say this flew by for me.
We did an hour.
Yeah,
an hour live.
An hour live. Yeah,
live. And I mean, messed up the technical.
I'm just like the little kid in me, Mr. Sumner, is fucking exploding. This is cool as shit to me. I mean, I'm sure you might just be another face in the sea, whatever. I don't give a damn. This is cool. I learned a lot.
I never thought.
Nah,
man. In 10 years, I didn't think I'd be in this position.
Nope.
Nah, I could say when my boy Dwight's daughter. When Ray hit me on IG, I just needed the information, on how it is, and then I read up on what was going on. I said I could definitely make this happen because that's what I'm all about, and that's the misconception of me. I'm in at the Improv in Orlando one time, and I'm there hanging out with Tony Robbins, right? And it's a crowd of guys, and of course, it's blunt time, okay. And so dudes take a walk, and everybody talking, and I'm being how I am with you guys, right? And the guy's looking at me, and I'm like, "Why are you looking at me like this, yo?" And he goes, "Man, I can't believe this is you." And I said, "What do you mean you can't believe this is me?" He said, "Man, somebody told me you was an asshole," right? Woo. And it took me, it took me back for a minute because I said to myself, I mean, I know that I am an asshole to some people who I don't put on. Some comedians will do that, right? But I said, think about the dude that said that, right? I said, at the end of the day, he's an asshole, ain't he? And know what he said? He said, "Yep. He really is." And I said, see, that's the thing. That's the thing. And that goes back to what I said to you guys before. With me, it ain't just about talent. It's about your character. And evidently, I had peeped this dude and wasn't messing with him. You know what I mean? So he just decided that he was going to spread the haterade around. As we know what haterade is. This guy turned me on to it earlier. But I mean, that's just how it goes. That's just how it goes. I mean, it is what it is. Some people are going to fear you and some people aren't. Simple as that. Keep it moving. Absolutely. I got shut out of the Comedy Store. I was doing a show there called Laff Mobb on Sunset, and it was popping. I mean, it was popping. A lot of different things was going on. And an incident happened, and I think the Comedy Store was going through a new management situation or whatever. And an incident happened like 2-3 hours after our show on the same night of our show, and they put us out. They put us out, and everybody is still calling me saying, "Bob, y'all, man, I wish y'all," because I was giving guys an opportunity because out there, unless you popping. Or you part of a certain clique, you can't even get stage time, especially if you're coming from the east to the west or whatever the case may be. So, I was going back and forth to LA every 3 weeks for 5 years, building the Laff Mobb brand. So I was starting to ease my way back east anyway, because I left a lot of the comedians who I was identifying and who was coming out making things happen. They'd already, did their thing. So it's time for me to do it again. Right. So I'm trying to figure this thing out. And then they call saying that we can't do this thing anymore. So that was perfect timing. Right. I kid y'all not. I get back to the East Coast. About 3-4 days later, the Apollo Theater call.
Ooh.
I'm like, okay, you do the math. Comedy Store, Apollo.
I think the Apollo, sir.
I think what a lot of people forget is like Laff Mobb on Sunset. That was during the dark ages of the Comedy Store. When I remember when I started, that was like
You're damn right.
one of the only shows that was worth going to.
You're damn right. You're damn right.
Every time I went, it felt like cancer.
And you're damn right. And the funny part about all of that is, I understand that they did a show about the Comedy Store, documentary. Did you see it?
I didn't see it. No.
Yeah, but one of their biggest nights was Guy Torrey's Tripping on Tuesdays over the years, and I heard that wasn't even covered.
You don't say.
Okay, and you can't blame it on Mitzi.
Yeah, it was urban. Yo, so real quick, like Tiffany Haddish is out here popping, right? And I saw like she even gives you like special thanks for things. But she had my one. I think
I love her, man. I'm so proud of her, man. I'm so proud of her.
But she had the DC OG of OGs, Tony Woods and Barbara Carlisle, and was like all these guys on that show, and she was just paying homage to the comics that didn't, I guess, become household names, but are killers, right?
Yeah, but
like I travel with Tony, like that's my road dog.
Fam, how do you think I feel when I see them finally get this opportunity? I had them on Def Jam in the early 90s, right? They were popping then, and nobody seemed to bite. But now Tiff has given these comedians an opportunity to shine, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful. It's really, because I'm telling you, that was Tony. You know, it was so cool to see. It was so cool to see David give it up.
Yeah,
because everything is real. Tony was listening to another podcast. Tony was listening to somebody's podcast about a month ago or so, where he heard my name mentioned in a very ill way. And I knew about it. And Tony hit me and said he wanted me to come on his show so he could change the narrative on that. That's the type of brother Tony Woods is. And Tony ain't tripping on other people's success. He has his own lane. And I mean, the cool thing about Tony done been around the world and
yeah, like 10 times.
You know? Yeah. But like people like Tiff, people like Tony, Tracy Morgan, they show love to their folks, yo. You know, even some people say everybody always want to put stuff in the game. You know what I mean? But there's a reason why people do what they do. You know, especially when you see people doing people righteous and then one person say they did me dirty. Think about why, maybe. You know?
Yo, hey, let's wrap this one up, man. I want to keep going,
man.
Hey, you's a busy man.
Y'all done prepared me. Y'all done prepared me. Y'all done prepared. Listen. We
he just got started.
No, I'm good. I just found this. Can y'all see this?
Yeah. That's what you just posted. That Tracy Morgan,
right?
Yeah,
No, that's Bill Bellamy.
Oh, okay.
That's Bill Bellamy. That was posted. Same room. But look at all those folks flocking around. That was every week, man. Every week they in there like crazy.
Amazing.
Looking at everybody too.
I tell people I'm trying to be like you, man. I really do tell people, like, I'm being serious, like, because I'm like, he came from, you had the two clubs, like, I listened to some of your story, right? And, like, you had the two clubs that you was promoting, jazz and comedy, and you was doing, I paid attention. And then, you know what I'm saying, you get in with the Def Jam community, and then you grow comedy even further, right?
Yeah.
And basically pioneer comedy to what we see now on stage, right? And so, like, that's what I want. I was like, man, I want big shows, but I also want to be a comic, You know what I'm saying? So I really like I look at you like on the producer side and running shows. I'm like, I'm gonna be like Bob, but on the comedy side, I'm like, I hope I'm like Tony. Like,
hey, did y'all happen to see the clip about with Joe Coy? What Joe said? Y'all never saw the clip?
No.
Which one?
The first time Joe met me?
No.
Interesting.
Go online and look at the first time Joe met me. In Kevin Hart's book, Kevin talks about the first time he met me. And I mean, I'm giving you opportunities, but you ain't shining yet. You know what I mean? I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna give you this opportunity, and then it's on you. And both of those guys got opportunities, and they talk about how they had to humble themselves because they thought they was banging at the time. But it was like, now this is, for lack of a better term, the big leagues, and both of them are so I love that they remembered where they came from. You know what I'm saying? Well, some people forget stuff.
Yes. And that was, so speaking of that, right? Because that was actually one of my questions that I had for you, right? How does one prepare for the big leagues without forgetting about where they came from?
How do one prepare?
How does one prepare for the big leagues? How does one prepare themselves to, they always say, what is it? Opportunity is when, say it for me.
Preparation. Time meets preparation. Something like that.
Yeah. But there's no real secret sauce to that. There's really no secret sauce because it just happens. It happens overnight. 1 minute you asking me for a couple dollars to catch a flight, and the next thing you buying people cars. You know what I'm saying? It just happens, and you're not prepared for it. But how do you handle it? Let me give you a scenario. The pandemic. Everybody now is trying to figure out where their next dollar is going to come from. So now everybody is trying to do stand-up online with a Cash App. Okay.
Oh.
Think about this. Pre-pandemic, you get paid after the show.
Fact.
All right. You get paid after the show. Instead of you taking a quarter of that cash and putting it in your savings, not your checking, but your savings, right? You decided that you was going to run back to the mall so you could have your 30th pair of Nikes for the stage. That's what happens with so many people who aren't prepared. They are out here spending foolishly as opposed to banking and making it happen for that rainy day or that rainy year, because that's what has happened. I know there's so many comedians now that's looking at, why did I spend all that money on that chick last night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can take that one.
Yeah.
Freaking goddamn Korean chicken.
I feel targeted.
You want soy sauce?
I feel so targeted.
You know what I'm talking about, because you were the one that was like, what's that fucking restaurant called? Bonchon. It's so good. That shit expensive as fuck. That $50 could have went into promo, asshole.
Well, what I actually do is I take 50% of the check, put it in. That's for me, and then I take 25%, save it for taxes, and then the other 25% I use on expenses. That's how I break down my money.
So you need to be part of that panel when he has one of the panels, because it people need to hear that.
Yeah.
Because when we talk about this stuff on the podcast all the time, because I always tell people, like, straight up, if I'm getting paid for a show, because we were talking about promotion, and I know I saw you talk about this once before about well, you talked about it here a little bit. Comics need to get themselves out there, right? And so, like, if somebody pays me for a show, if I know how much I'm getting paid for a show, I promote the show.
Yeah,
I promote it like it's my own show. Like, hey, Eddie, we're gonna pay you $250 for 20 minutes. Cool. $125 I put in the promo. Where the place at? What's the venue? Like, even when we were talking about this podcast, you were asking me, like, how, like, what are y'all gonna do? How y'all gonna promote this? You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't think a lot of comics even think about that part of, like, dude, you're in the promotions game. You are be funny. This job is not easy. You gotta be funny, you gotta promote, and you gotta network. You got 3 things to do it all at one time, bro.
That's right. That's right.
So what are some of the things that you tell comics on how to boost their name, like how to promote themselves? How do you talk to comics about that?
I mean, it goes a lot of ways, because see, what happens now is you have this social media thing. You have a way to getting it out there, and you get your squad. You get your followers to help you, because the thing is, for every 5 tickets, one of them is yours.
Yeah.
You have to do that. I mean, you sell 100 tickets. And you ain't really had to do much but open up your mouth or do whatever. You can turn that into a nice little payday. So that's what you have to do. You have to really get a squad together to really help you rock out.
These my guys right here.
Yeah. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, it's no certain way, but consistency.
Yeah.
Consistency. Even when I see these people, you still doing comedy? Man, I took a year off. Why? It just wasn't working for me.
But they don't take a year off their resume.
Now I'm back into it again. And this, that, and the other. I'm like, okay, next.
Yep. Yep. I concur.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Terrance.
Well, I was just gonna say, so you kind of hit it on there, right? So you're very much, what you're saying is you create for the sense of creating, so that way you're ready at any point.
That's right.
Right.
You got to stay ahead, because you have to be ready, man. When that time comes, be ready. And I always say, when people, I laugh when everybody say they trying to make the next Def Jam. And things like that. I always laugh because my phone ain't rang. You wanna make the next Def Jam? I'll be a producing partner. You know what I mean? And I'll do what I have to do, and we can make some magic. And because there's always more folks. What was the documentary I did a few years ago with Robert Townsend called Why We Laugh?
Yeah.
And so everybody was, they were asking me, do I think that there'll be, a next? This is right before Cat took off.
Mm-hmm.
It was right before Cat took off. Kevin was, bubbling at 2, right? He was bubbling. Mike was getting ready to hit, all these guys. It was getting ready to happen when this question was asked. And my answer was, and as we open up our conversation this evening, I went back to sports, okay? And I was telling them that when Dr. J was about to retire, he had entertained people so much for those 15 years or so that everybody was actually bugging. Like, Dr. J is retiring. We're never going to see anything like that again.
Right.
I mean, this is what they were saying,
Right.
and at the same time, Richard Pryor was easing into, the pastures. And, will there ever be another Richard Pryor, so to speak? And now you no longer have Dr. J or Richard Pryor that kept us going during the 70s. Here in the early 80s, you have a guy named Michael Jordan and a guy named Eddie Murphy. Need I say more? Next, here comes the Chicago Bulls, a whole conglomerate, right? Just took over the NBA. And who took over comedy? The Def Comedy Jam. Early 90s, we was just throwing them out there. And then they became what? Kings and queens of comedy, and Chappelle's and Tucker's and Underwood's. You dig what I'm saying? So don't think that this can't keep happening. You know what I mean? The only problem is the stand-up comedy thing went back to one comedian at a time. You didn't have that whole Def Jam thing happening again because no one called me to produce the shit. You know what I mean? I tried. I tried to do it with Diddy's show. And I worked it for the first season.
About the Bad Boys of Comedy, right?
I worked it for the first season, but it was a weird situation, you know. But one thing that I was able to do with that show was I introduced the world to the comedy of Rashid before he passed away.
Yo, Rashid, that was one of the best sets. Like for me, it was Tony and Rashid.
Well, Rashid is the reason. Rashid is the reason why I was creating Laff Mobb, because I felt like the Rashids of the world, the Smokies of the world, right? These guys, the Capones of the world. You know, these guys was like that next wave of bringing it. And, you know, everybody always asks me, how did Laff Mobb? What is Laff Mobb? Laff Mobb is just about laughing. And I'm trying to put together like a family, a comedy family. And what's a family but a mob? You know what I mean? And then I just took the acronym of mob because it's more of Bob's best.
Hey,
okay.
Talk that shit.
Given that opportunity, Kid Capri and I have been working before the pandemic. We was doing some showcases down in Greenwich Village because we're trying to bring this whole thing back. And I wanted to get the essence of Richard Pryor. You know, Richard Pryor used to be in the Village doing his stuff over at Cafe Wah. Jimi Hendrix was over at Electric Ladyland Studios, you know, putting together Purple Haze and shit. So that's what Kid and I decided that we were going to do these showcases over on McDougal. And they really been coming together. Timmy Hall.
Hey,
Timmy
Baltimore
Hall.
guy.
Baltimore
comic, man.
Timmy Hall, like Marshall Brandon.
Yeah, we had him on 2 weeks ago.
Well, again, Timmy Hall and Marshall Brandon, Hot Sauce from St. These comedians they're next if somebody give them that opportunity. And then like there's 5, like you have like Michelle from Baltimore, Mugga from New York. Like they've been around, like Eddie Bryan, and they've been around, but they need that opportunity to get the shot that the Queens got. You know what I mean? And then right out of, there's a young lady, Rita Brent. Rita Brent's out of Jackson, Mississippi. She opens for Ricky Smiley, right?
Okay.
When I tell you she's dope, she's dope. And then right there in Baltimore, there's Ty Davis and Stiletto. Both of those, they are ready. Like all of them are ready. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's crazy because I don't normally, like I stop like dropping names and stuff because people run after they got the little notepad shit.
Oh yeah.
but at the same time, I just know that these are comedians that have proven to me that we can continue to do this. Just Niche and Corey Bell out of Chicago, Lisa Lair. Like it's the women out here that are funny as hell. But every time I look at a damn flyer, it's 5 guys. It's five guys on the show. It's 5 guys on the show, and in the audience is full of women, but no women on the show. It'd be blowing my mind, but that's the comedy experts again.
Yeah. and they probably, unfortunately, stay doing dick jokes in front of the all-female audience.
Yeah, please don't do dick jokes.
That's what half the time you see that shit, and it's like, are you even looking at your crowd to read what's going on?
Yeah,
and understanding what it is that they want and what it is they're laughing at, so you can adjust.
Yeah.
Right. Like I saw something you was talking about, like you have a female on everything that you do. You have to have a female on everything you do. And like, so that's like so Rashawn, for everybody listening, Rashawn books the hideout now. I don't anymore. and so like, what are the things that like me and her talked about? Is like, we're always going to try to like, I have a ladies' night. I do a ladies' night every 6 months, but I try my best for every show to have one female on the show, at least, even if she's not a headliner, at least one,
right?
Because there's so many funny females out here. Like I've worked everybody that you just named, like besides outside that's inside of DC and Baltimore, I've worked with all of them great people. You know what I'm saying? And
Ray Diva is funny. Mimi Manning is funny. It's some funny.
She was supposed to headline my show. She was supposed to headline my show last week.
I've shared the stage with her so many times. Yeah, that's the same as Eddie, man.
And then you have Mimi Simpson up in New York. She's out of Chicago. She's funny. I mean, there's some funny women. Some funny women out here.
Shoot, I gotta big up my big sis, Frankie Finch. Frankie French is a big sis out of DC, but what's her name? She just won Stand Up ABC, and then I know Ty won your show with HBO or the contest with HBO, correct? So like, can you explain that contest a little bit more? The Wings contest.
Well, what it is the American Black Film Festival over the years. Going into 25 years, we've always had comedy. I mean, in the early years when we started in Acapulco, John Witherspoon, Earthquake, Sheryl Underwood, J.B. Smoove, Cedric the Entertainer, Tommy Davidson, they would all come down and perform. Ari Spears, Ricky Smiley. We had quite a few people that perform regularly at the festival. Then Jeff Friday, the executive producer and founder of the festival, called me. He said, Bob, I think that we should do some type of competition for, aspiring stand-ups and stuff. Your connection and what we have here, we could make something like this happen. And so we just pretty much put together the Comedy Wings competition. And over the past 8 years, and it's really been going well, where comedians submit their like 3 to 4 minutes, they submit their links, and then we break it down to semifinal and a final, and keep it moving from there. But what had really made Jeff do it is when Jamie and Monique won Oscars.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It was like, it's really, you have stand-up comedians winning these Oscars. We have this film festival. Why not open it up? So, and what Jeff was doing with the film festival was making it more of a thing that dealt with Black and brown, because you have Sundance, but, we wasn't all at Sundance, so he pretty much created his own Sundance, So what we're doing now, we just announced that we have created the ABFF Comedy Festival. So what we're going to do now, and we're going to do it virtually this year, of course, and the submissions is open online. Go to abff.com, but we are, doing it virtually now. But we're going to try to take this thing, just like Jeff turned this film festival into, his own Sundance. We want to turn this into Just for Laughs. You dig what I'm saying? Everybody can't get to Montreal unless you know somebody. I know how this thing goes.
Or legally.
Right.
It'd be like that streak at the Super Bowl.
So we're gonna be doing the festival in what, June, I believe, what late May, sometime around there. May.
Yeah, it say June 2nd through the 6th.
Right.
And they can watch it all online. Yeah, so I'm already on the website. The website is down low. If you can't, for everybody that's just listening, it's abff.com. All right.
Yeah.
It'll take you right to the film festival. I mean, I'm sorry, to the ABFF Comedy Festival. It'll take you right to that page.
So, I mean, we have,
sure
and that's why I say it's a whole lot of great things popping off. But this, my podcast, Just Kicking It, is going to be something of the way I'm designing it is going to be like, wow, people are going to be like, what? Yeah.
What are your thoughts on how you want to do your podcast?
What do you mean? What's my thoughts?
Like, how, okay, how are you going to do your podcast? Like, what is it going to be more about?
It's really going to be about me talking to comedians that I've, dealt with over the years and just watching their journey, talking, just kicking it in a real loose manner. It's not even just about their journey, but just current events.
Yeah.
Just kicking it, but it's going to be a real slick vibe connected to it, where you're going to be bobbing your head while you're listening to it. You know what I mean? And then we're going to, so then we're going to ease out of that interview, and then we're going to open up the doors to the rising stars, and we'll kick it with them, and then we'll listen to a clip from the up and coming comedian. And it's going to be a banging clip because I'm only identifying who has the it. You know what I mean? And and what's the it? I don't know it until I see it. And I never will forget when I saw the it in Craig Robinson. Everybody thought I was bugging when I put Craig. When I took Craig, because Craig was kind of laid back and had little people, and he was doing. But he brought something different, something unique and original. And then he did, the hokey pokey, and all that. And it was like, Craig Robinson is one right now that I'm looking at and go, wow. Deion Cole's another one that I'm looking at and I'm going, wow. I'm so proud of these guys. I'm so proud. If I said this to you, like just my whole, I don't even know how to say it, but I'm gonna run some names down, and these was all somehow connected to that situation in those years. Right. And this is why I'm saying I would love to, in 2031, say a whole new list of names. New
list of people.
But if I say, like, with this show that I'm doing, with this podcast that I'm doing, and if someone declines, maybe you're busy or whatever, but hopefully you could come back because Bill Bellamy, Deion Cole, Cedric the Entertainer, JB Smoove, Sheryl Underwood, D.L. Hughley, Chris Tucker, Monique, Ari Spears, Dave Chappelle, Eddie Griffin, Kevin Hart, Craig Robinson, Tiffany Haddish, Tracy Morgan, Ricky Smiley, Donnell Rollins, Tony Woods, Afion Crockett, Guy Torrey, Leslie Jones, Tasha Smith, Mike Epps, all of them have all been part of my tree, some more, what I mean? It goes on. And it's a beautiful thing that I have been able to assist them. I'm not going to, I never take claim on them. God can take the claim.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I was given an opportunity by Stan Lathan and Russell Simmons. They gave me the keys, and I think I did a good job. I think I did.
You could have did a legendary job. Legendary.
You did a little work.
You have it on your wall behind you.
So
when does this podcast launch? When do you expect this podcast to be out?
Well, we like to get it off. We like to get this off within the next, probably about a month. Probably in a month, because I just did a test run, making sure that all my stuff is popping and we getting everything into the flow. And it's going to be a very interesting ride that I'm so ready to take.
Sounds exciting.
I was just talking to a friend about when we was down at the ABFF one year, and we were at an HBO party, and I introduced, like, Regina King is like one of my best friends, you know, and I introduced Regina to Issa Rae.
Introduce me.
Right, and I look at Regina. I look at Regina and Issa. I look at them, and they're like the two hottest women in this thing, along with Tiff. You know what I mean? It's like when you never know when your time's gonna come. You know what I'm saying? And it's a beautiful thing. You know, it's a beautiful thing.
Out of all the comics you've worked with, who's the one like surprised you the most, whether through their career or like at first impression? Who surprised you?
Well, I would say just in terms of someone who I had no idea when I was speaking with them what I was going to see once they performed. And that was the first comedian that I ever showcased. That was Bernie. I couldn't believe it because I had already been doing, you know, my shows at the Peppermint in, well, I should say Club 88 at the time. I was at another place in Jersey. And, you know, I've seen some great performances. But when I saw Bernie Mac down at the Comedy Act Theater, it was a Comedy Act Theater in Atlanta as well as LA at this time. Bernie had me on the floor, and I called Bill, right? I said, Bill, I saw this guy last night. I couldn't believe it. And then when Bill saw Bernie, and they became like best friends, man, it was like it was amazing. But when I look at the success that Dion Cole, Tracy Morgan, JB Smoove, you know, they have really come a long, long way in their careers where, you know, they have moved high up on the Hollywood, you know, top of the line list. And Mike Epps is another one who I'm so proud of him. You know, I'm so proud of him. I watched these guys like really start shining. I remember when Bill told Ricky Smiley to reach out to me because Ricky had met Bill, and Bill was, you know, telling him that he needed to talk to me. Ricky talks about this, and just to see where Ricky's career has gone, you know, it's just a beautiful thing. But then, you know, more than anybody, I have to say, Kevin and David are rock stars, yo. Straight up rock stars. They like U2 and Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like to see where they have taken it is I'm so I feel like, you know, a lot of people say Uncle Bob's proud, bro. I'm proud. But more so than that, I'm ready to rock it again. I'm ready to rock it out again. You know, I look at Avion Crockett. I look at Avion. Nobody expected Avion. When I saw Avion down in Charlotte, no different than Tiffany. All I'm looking for is, I'm not looking for an hour. I'm looking for the showcase. You know, my Chris Tucker story is legendary. You know what I mean? I mean, the Chris Tucker story, I use the Chris Tucker story at every talent showcase I'm at, competition, because people need to understand that it's more than one winner in a competition. And Chris was on a podcast not too long ago with T.I.
Expeditiously.
And he was telling T.I., and T.I. couldn't believe the story that Chris was telling, but it was all about, I had a lot to do with that story. And it was as simple as this. Chris was in this competition up in the Bay Area, all right? And I was getting ready to go into the second half of kind of like the first season of Def Comedy Jam, right? We had like blew the roof off, but now they wanted more, all right? So I went out to Oakland, and they had asked me to be a judge on Saturday. So the event was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Each night had 20 contestants. So that's 60 contestants. 60 contestants from all over, right? And
you had to listen to all of them?
Well, no. This is the thing. I went out there because I had to deliver a new season of Def Jam. All right.
Right.
So it wasn't about me just going out there to judge and pick one comedian. I was going out there, hopefully, to book my whole season if I could. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. So anyway, so this Friday night, I didn't know what to expect. So this Friday night, I figured I'll go watch the comedians. And the next night, I'm a judge. And then the next night, I'll be back to watching. So this first night, I'm sitting up there and I'm watching all 20 comedians perform. So at the end, they bring the comedians all out like it's showtime at the Apollo and Kiki Shepard. and the comedians, when they call your name, you know, the top 7 move into the next round of which would then be 21. All right, 3 nights, 7 times 3, right? So now they call out the first 5. And I'm saying to myself, my favorite comedian hasn't been called yet. So they got to be one of the next 2.
Right.
No, they didn't get called. Now I'm in the Bay Area, right? And I'm saying the Golden Gate Bridge ain't far from here. This motherfucker might be running to jump off this joint.
Yeah.
Right? So I ran backstage and I said to him, I said, "Hey man, my name is Bob Sumner. You know, I'm here, you know, I have this new show and I really want to put you on there. I saw what just happened here, but I think that you was really, really good. And I'm telling y'all right now, the same set that you saw Chris Tucker do with the Michael Jackson and everything on Def Comedy Jam, that was the set he did that night.
And he didn't win. And he didn't win.
What you mean win?
He didn't place, bro.
He didn't place. There was still 3 more rounds after that.
That's
okay.
Wow.
But the next thing I know, he after us, he did Money Talks. Yep. You know, he did The Fifth Element. You know, and he's doing Friday. You know what I'm saying? And his world changed. You know, but it really was that Def Comedy Jam situation that led him, as it led Bernie, to, you know, stardom. Amazing. You know, stardom. Yeah, but again, you don't have to win to win.
That's word.
Why do you always look for oh my God, Jesus, yo, hey, Bob has joined y'all little clique. Okay,
it's true. I love that Mr. Sumner came in just to pick on Eddie's ass with the rest of us. Just because, fuck you, Eddie.
But to be clear, not motherfuck you, just fuck you.
Yeah. But we'll throw the little Eddie-ism in there and call you Eddie, you're a dickhead.
Come on, son. Yo, listen.
Eddie, are you Eddie, you any relation to Kev?
Kevin Liles? No. I wish. No.
Because I'm just thinking because Kev's from Baltimore.
Yeah, no. So, and I'm from DC. I both our families originated from the same place, but we don't have any like connections. So, like, yeah, both our families come from North Carolina, but we don't.
What part of North Carolina?
Durham.
North Carolina.
So my grandma's side of my family. I still have family that lives in Durham, North Carolina, and
that's not far. I'm Rocky Mount.
You said you Rocky Mount? Okay.
Rocky Mount.
I was born and raised here. I was born and raised in DC, but that's where my grandmother came from. So like when
so we got some of that Tar Heel in us, bro.
Oh yeah, I'm a Tar Heel fan for basketball, baby. Like, they don't get it messed up.
This is a guy that don't even follow college sports. You can't say that.
Listen, Linda. No. Come on, man.
If Bob Sumner calls me a Tar Heel, I might watch a few games in the year. I just might.
No, listen, Bob. You tell me if I'm messed up for this, okay? In college sports, I'm a Tar Heel fan for basketball. I'm a Buckeye fan for football, and that's it. And I don't follow anything else. But I rarely follow them. So hey, whatever. Shut up,
right.
Terrance.
And I keep I keep looking at your Dodger hat.
Oh,
Yes.
Lloyd.
It brings the color out my eyes, sir.
Okay. Congratulations.
He's the color out of my eye. Nigga, your eyes are black. What the fuck are you talking about?
And if Eddie calls my eyes black, damn.
Just saying, bro. No, hey, Bob. So you keep talking about.
I can't believe it.
Huh?
Now I'm bugging on the fact that now, since the moment we talked, we done did another 45.
Yo, and I just was like, I ain't gonna say nothing until you say something. Like Terrance normally go cook for his son. He ain't said nothing. Lloyd's wife done walked in and out of the room like 8 times. She ain't say nothing. Like I live by myself, so I ain't got shit to do but drink. I don't care.
Who else are we hanging out with tonight? Just
like, what? Nah, but I was going to say, so you keep bringing up like you find in the next comment, how important is it, do you think, how important is it to keep looking for the next? How important is that?
Well, I mean, it's very important because the next, there's always, I want to, if I do a show and I have 32 comedians, I prefer to have 32 bangers.
Right.
So at the end of the day, in order to find 32 bangers, if there's somebody that want to showcase in front of me, they might be one of those 32. You never know. You know, and this is what I'm addicted to this. You know what I'm saying? I'm addicted to this. You know, I got my medical comedy card.
This your Mary J? This your Mary J? So Bob, you better stop. Somebody about to roll you a blunt when you come to DC next. Watch.
No bullshit.
Mr. Sumner, I'm like the diversity portion of the show, so I gotta ask for diversity. When you look at your lineups, like, does diversity, like when you look at your lineups, you're like, oh, I'm missing XYZ. I need a Hispanic.
Well, yeah, there you go. Well. Again, it goes back to sports. I honestly treat my lineups like, when I break it down, it's just like the NFL and the NBA draft. All right, and you know, certain GMs look for certain players. Everybody need that left tackle.
Fact.
You know, everybody need that left tackle. Everybody needs that dope point guard. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I go about it with what I do. And even like with my philosophy in terms of who makes the cut. If I see 3 comedians in Chicago that kill, now understand, once I leave Chicago, I'm going to Cleveland, right? Or whatever the case may be. Especially like, say, Indiana, okay? If I see 1 comedian in Indianapolis and I see 3 comedians in Chicago, that Indianapolis comedian then took one of those 3 Chicago comedians' spot. All right, so that 1 comedian from Chicago that the Indianapolis or wherever they're from in Indiana took their spot, now they have to wait until next season. Unless they motherfuck me. They don't even know that I had my eye on them, and I know that they're gonna be even funnier if they stay on stage next season. You know what I mean? So that's basically how I do that whole thing. It's strategic. You know, I have to have at least 1 woman on the show, you know, along with maybe another one hosting the show. You know what I mean? Because everybody can't host the show. You have to even have the right host. Some people, and the other thing is, why don't people start understanding that they just went last? They didn't headline. You know, it's a lot of shows that people be talking about they headline. As a headline. No, you went last. You know, headliners are in Vegas. You know, Vegas is headliners. Headliners are people that had a discography of hits, and now they done took their act to Vegas. You know, I'm just saying. Everybody be like, and everybody talking about I killed. Okay, you killed. Okay, see you tomorrow. Right?
There's a difference between being a headliner and a closer. I want to be a fucking closer.
Yeah.
Period. You want to be a closer?
Yeah, yes. Bang it, knock it out. Knock it out.
Shit out. Close the fucking show.
Yeah. You can't follow me. And the same thing goes with, you know, hey, commit to that microphone no matter no matter who you are on that stage. You can't, like, it's one thing that the comedian is asking you to, like, don't really, these are the subjects that I'm talking about. This is the headliner. You know, you respect that. You know, you don't want to talk about the same stuff they talked about. But whatever you're going to go up there and do, don't half-ass it. Kill. Because that headliner is going on to the next spot. You're going to be there. Or if you do it right, if you open or feature the right way, that headliner will take you with them. Mm-hmm. There's a way to play it, but the thing is, you always got to give it your all. Don't act like because you didn't want to steal their thunder. If the headliner is the headliner that they supposed to be, it don't make a difference what you do.
Ooh.
That headliner might produce your special.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's the beauty of Tiffany again. You know, these comedians got years and years of experience over her, but she's good in her space. Now she want to see them come up because they deserve it. You know, the only show they ever did was them shows that I produced. Nah, man, it's bigger than this. You know what I mean? I'm the guy that just try to get you to the water.
Woo. I'm going to spend the next 5 minutes whenever this is done. I'm not in a rush, but whenever this is done, it's going to take me at least 5 minutes to pick up all these fucking gems.
Oh, no, I'm rewatching, bro. You don't want to do the clips.
Yeah. I'm going to spend the next 5 minutes crying. Don't mind me.
I wanted to be a closer.
Yeah, guys. I mean, and just know, and let Ray know, I mean, as you guys keep building and doing what you're doing, you know, maybe at some point I'll drop back in here on you guys, you know what I'm saying, and see what the progress is on both ends. You know, in April, I just finished Saturday morning. I shot a special that chronicled my 5 years at the Apollo, these past 5 years. So that's going to be streaming on the Apollo streaming service. And during, you know, April was that comedy month and everything. Yeah. So make sure y'all check that out. It's going to be pretty dope as I keep trying to grind this thing out, man, and look for opportunities for you guys, you know.
We appreciate
that's what's up.
Seriously, man.
Thank you,
man.
So, I don't think we've done a 2-hour podcast yet, but God dang it. Hey.
It feel like 2 hours.
That's what's up.
Did it feel like 53 minutes ago? We just said, hey, Bob, I know you got to go.
Just make sure I get this link so I could drop it on my, make sure I drop it on, get this link so I could drop it on my,
we got
my
you.
spot stuff.
So literally, like I told you, we about to pull it down. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you can make sure you can catch us at I'm Gonna Get in Trouble on all podcast networks, and that audio portion will be there. If you're listening to the audio portion, but you want to see what happened, you can always go to Facebook and look up I'm Gonna Get in Trouble podcast page, or go on YouTube and look up I'm Gonna Get in Trouble. Mr. Bob Sumner.
All the social media sites allow you to follow hashtags too. We started up our hashtag IGIT clips, so you can watch it in little snippets. If you only got 30 seconds or a minute there, do that too. We got you.
Y'all hit the dope dealers with Jamal Doman and Toby Hicks?
That means something totally different to me. I was like, I know a lot of dope dealers.
Toby's from Omaha, Terrance. Okay. But they have a pretty cool thing that they have going on. I love these situations, man, because it's all about unity in this thing. It's all about us coming together, man, and making it happen.
Yes, sir.
Yo, Mr. Sumner, seriously, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for coming on. We learned a lot and we laughed a lot, and that's all that really matters.
Yes. You guys be safe, man, because it's real out here. You know, we didn't even go into that part, nor did we have to. But I've lost a lot of people this year, a lot of close people, and I was actually in a funk where I wasn't even entertaining these. Like, a lot of people was trying to get me to do these things. There was no way I could do it at one point. But I figured that it was time for me to get out here and, say what I had to say and do what I had to do. And here we are.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it to the most, man. And can you say that one more time where you want these comics to drop their clips to you and everything?
Yeah, all comics should be sending their material to submissions@laffmobb.com. And Laff Mobb is spelled LAFF as in Frank, MOBB as in Bob, LAFFMOBB. And then, on Instagram, people could hit me at bob.sumner on Instagram. And then, I have that Bob Sumner Comedy Spot page on Facebook. That's the way that I did that page, because it gives comedians an opportunity, as well as comedy promoters and just lovers of comedy, to bring everything right there and promote their stuff and, what have you. Every now and then somebody might get flagged because they put some real whack shit on there. But at the same time, no, it's really, really cool. So that's what's happening, man. And I'll be coming back. I was supposed to be starting a series, Laff Mobb Live, at the City Winery in Philadelphia. That was going to be the first one, as I try to open up. I want to really get into all of the city wineries on like the dark nights, like a Tuesday, Wednesday, and playing that out. So I'm trying to make that happen. And also down in Willingboro, New Jersey, just like when I had the Peppermint, and that was like the way to get to Def Comedy Jam, I do a show with my man Jed Curtis. We have a show called the Saturday Night Comedy Show that Marshall Brandon hosts, and I use that as the launching pad to get people to my other projects, like the Apollo Comedy Club and Laff Mobb's Laugh Tracks. So that pops up, and then I do something else in Newark, New Jersey called Jazz and Jokes, which is more of a laid back, real cool, grown and sexy type thing.
None of that dancing.
Not that. But yeah, man, and I would love to get back to LA and do a once a month at some point, because I did enjoy, being out there, but at the same time, I just want to make sure that everything is right when I do it. And then last but not least, we're kicking off a Laff Mobb's on campus comedy jam. We're going into the colleges, HBCUs, and also, all of the major colleges. We're going to try to make some things happen, like that too. So it's I'm gonna be busy in 2021, and
so
it is what it is.
The question I ask is pretty self-serving, but you got anything plans for Vegas?
Vegas is a simple. Mike P?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I do know Mike P. Yes,
Mike P is one of my guys, and I used to do a joint called Poetry with Mike over at Caesars, and that was a few years ago. That was really, really cool, and I'll be dipping back into Vegas. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm here.
And Mary Lindsay, who had Jokes and Notes in Chicago. She's in Vegas now, doing some things. But the pandemic has really played with this thing, and we just got to figure it out. And we are figuring it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yo, I can't wait to have you back in DC. I will definitely send you some tickets to the DuPont Underground so you can check that show out with us. And as well as the DC Comedy Festival. Soon as we back to business, we're gonna get this panel started just for you. I swear to you.
Eddie, if you had on a big hat, you know who you would right? Yeah.
Yo, Tony keeps saying this.
Yeah, let me tell you, one day we was in London, right? We were in London and dude walks out the hotel, right? We're standing there, we getting ready to go hang out. Me and Kid Capri, we getting ready to go hang out in London during the day. We have time. Right. Our show is at Brixton at night, right? Fucking Patrice O'Neal says, "Hey Bob, man, take this ride with me over to Paris." I said, "Where you go, man?" He said, I'm going to Paris to buy a new hat. It sounds cool, but I'm like, man, how far is Paris from London? Like, I'm not really trying to do this right now because the next thing I know, we're getting ourselves ready for the show. Right. Who comes walking down the street with a big old box, a hat box? It was a badass hat. But I just had to say that because that was my dude. Patrice O'Neal, man. And you just looking at you, it kind of takes me, you've heard Tony said that?
Tony keeps saying it. Tony, he said I'm a bully.
He is
too.
Man,
with a heart of gold though. Patrice would jump in somebody's ass and then hug him.
But Eddie can't knock nobody out though.
Hey, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Seriously. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, we out of here.
With it. That's why I'm mad with it. With it. With it. That's why I'm mad with it. Straight out the trap with it.